If you have a podcast, upgrading it to have video is one of the easiest ways to grow your podcast, but also repurpose your episodes. And if you've always wanted to start a podcast, creating video episodes is a non-negotiable in the industry now. Video podcasting will help you grow your show and your other marketing channels, make the most of your content, and even opening up new brand partnership and monetization opportunities. So this is going to be your complete guide to video podcasting, including what equipment you need to get started, how to record your podcast for quality audio and video, and all of my best tips for marketing your podcast. So let's start with some of the equipment that you might need, including your recording software, your camera, your mic, and your content calendar for kind of organizing all of your content and ideas. I highly recommend using a recording software instead of recording directly onto your camera or even using something like Zoom. I personally love and recommend Riverside, who actually is sponsoring this video. And what's great is that Riverside is an all-in-one content studio. Not only is recording inside Riverside a great experience for yourself, but also if you're having guests on, it's so easy and intuitive to use. And once you're done recording in Riverside, you're able to edit it down, pull promotional clips using their AI features, and even generate things like transcripts and show notes to make finalizing your video episode easier. So I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite features throughout this video podcasting guide, but a few of my favorites include 4K video and audio recording. Unlike something like Zoom, where the video quality and the audio quality is honestly crap, Riverside always records directly on your device first. So this ensures you always have quality audio and video content, no matter what your internet connection is for yourself, or even if you're having guests on. The key to seeing success with video podcasting is having the right tools. And with Riverside, you don't need to app hop or use a bunch of different tools. It really is that all-in-one platform to help you streamline and optimize your entire video podcasting workflow. So I'm going to be linking all the equipment that I'm using in this video in the show notes, including a 15% off code for you to try Riverside out for yourself. The second piece of equipment you need is a camera, and there's definitely a lot of options you can choose from here, and they don't need to be high cost to be effective. But the reason why you want a higher quality camera than just like the webcam on your computer is because we're pulling this for videos, whether it's horizontal for something like YouTube, or if you're pulling it for promo assets on Reels or TikTok, the quality of your video content makes such a big difference. So I personally use the Sony ZV-1, and the key is I actually connect this as my camera source inside Riverside. So I just use a simple USB cord and I connect this into my laptop. So when I'm recording, this is actually my webcam instead of the webcam in my computer. You can really achieve this with any webcam, and even with Riverside, they're rolling out an option to use your mobile phone as a webcam, and even just this camera is so much better than most webcams that you can find on Amazon. Other things that you might want to have in addition to a quality camera is to have some really great lights. I personally really have been enjoying these panel lights, and lighting is one of those small things that makes such a big difference for the quality of your video podcasts. In addition to having a tripod to keep your camera stable and sturdy, no matter where you decide to record your episodes. I've been loving recording my video podcast episodes on my couch, so I love that I can have a tripod that can move that camera around while still having it as the source for my laptop. So I can get those different shots, which can make it even more engaging on a platform like YouTube or in your short form video content. The next thing you need for your video podcast is a really great mic, and this is kind of a given. If you are podcasting, you want to have great audio, but I honestly think there isn't a wrong option that you can choose for a mic. You just want to make sure you have a good one. So you could be using a lav mic like this, which you could attach to whatever you're wearing, or you could literally hold. You also could use more of a handheld mic like this, which I personally have really been preferring for my podcasts. Or of course you can use a regular schmegular USB mic like this Rode one, and you can have this connected to a stand, to an arm on your desk. So it really kind of depends on where you're actually recording your episode. If you want to hold something, if you want to have something on a stand, but the same way that I connect my camera into my laptop to have it as my source, I do the exact same thing for my mic, as I have that as my mic mic source inside Riverside. And the final thing you need for your equipment is a content calendar. So this is where you're going to store your content ideas, your outlines. So I like to have an outline, not necessarily a script, that has the main points that I'm wanting to cover. Most importantly, the introduction, the hook that's starting out my episode, but also anything that I know I want to say verbatim. So I can essentially have that off to the side while I'm recording to make sure that I have a really great structure to my video podcast. In addition to that, you're able to actually plan out your content calendar, so you're able to see those publishing dates of when your video episodes are going live and kind of store all of your information in one place. This is especially helpful if you're working with a team, but even if you're solo, this is so important for keeping you organized when producing your video podcasts. I personally use and love ClickUp for my own content calendar for my podcast. Now I want to walk you through my entire recording workflow for my video podcast. Step one is I like to plan out what my episodes are going to be about, and I like to outline those main points that I want to cover inside the episode. I usually don't script these, but the main part that I do like to script is those first few lines or the hook of my video. And then what are the main points or the overall structure of the episode, so I can make sure that it's valuable, engaging, and works best for not only the audio, but the video version. Step two is I like to set up my tech. And if you are totally new to using some of the equipment I mentioned, I promise you it is so much easier than it looks. It just takes doing it for the first time and getting your routine down. I set up my tripod, my lights, I pull out my camera, I plug it into my computer for the USB streaming, and then I connect my mic, and then I like to have my outline off to the side, and I'm pretty much ready to record from there. Step three is to press record. And essentially my flow for recording is I like to record in one long video clip. And then I will essentially look off to the side to my outline. I'll pause. I'll then say whatever I want to say. And then I'll repeat that process. So then I'll pause. I'll look at my outline. I'll say some more lines. And then that will be my complete episode. And then from there, I'll edit out any pauses, retakes, or mistakes that I might have. Step four is when I get into the editing process. So there's kind of a few different options you have for editing. The first is you can definitely outsource that and have a video editor on your team, which is something that I personally have. The other option, if you're wanting to DIY it, is you can use Riverside, which is the software that we recorded directly into, and they have AI features to help you edit down your episodes for you, which is so helpful. And then they also have a text-based editor inside Riverside. So you can go into your finalized episodes and literally edit down your episode just like you would a document. So you can remove things that you don't want, you can reorder things, and you can finalize that final piece of content right from there. And I want to remind you that edits do not make great video content. So if you're feeling intimidated by turning your podcast into a video and think you need to have all the fancy bells and whistles and all these insane edits, you definitely don't, especially if your content is strong. And the final step is to get everything ready to publish and schedule. Another one of the Riverside AI features that I really love is you're able to generate show notes, which is a really great starting point that you can then tweak and edit and finalize for your final show notes for your podcast, but also eventually use it for the description of your YouTube video. They're very similar, but just formatted a little bit differently. And you also have the final transcript from your episode. So if you want to use that for a longer blog post, and even as we go into the promo assets, you can grab that as well. For me, I like to distribute my podcast using Libsyn, which puts it on all the podcast platforms. And then I like to schedule my video episodes in YouTube. Now onto the final step, which is honestly the most important for really seeing results with your video podcast, and that is marketing. So now that you've turned your podcast into a video, these are the three main places that I recommend distributing that content. The first is publishing the entire episode on YouTube. YouTube is definitely prioritizing podcasts as one of the best ways to discover podcasts, and you're able to kind of create a playlist for your entire show. So I highly recommend utilizing those features when you're starting to publish your video episodes there. Then we have short form video content. So you're going to want to take that long longer form piece of content and pull that into short form content for Reels, TikTok, and even Shorts. Riverside really helps you save time with this and simplifies the editing process for short form content. And then the final thing is you want to create text-based content. So sending out emails to your newsletter list, creating LinkedIn articles, or even creating threads. You're able to take that transcript that Riverside generated from your episode and turn that into all of those different types of text-based content. And as someone who personally loves short form video content for not only promoting your episodes, but also for making the most out of the content you're already creating, there are two types of content that you can create, whether you're pulling clips directly from the episode or if you're actually repurposing that episode into new content without having to start from scratch. So when you're pulling clips from your episode, that is why we did the little bit of extra work to use your camera to make sure you're filming in a wide enough frame so we can crop that into vertical content. Inside Riverside, there's two different ways that I like to pull video clips. The first is by using their AI feature Magic Clips, where essentially you just click a button and it'll automatically start generating video clips that they think you should use to promote your episode. The other way is that maybe the way that you outlined your episode or when you were recording, you know there was a section you absolutely wanted to create a promo clip from. You can use their text-based editor and essentially select the section that you want to use for that promo clip. Go over to the three dots in the corner and select create a new edit. And that'll essentially create a new video that you can then edit, turn into vertical, and add any final touches for your promo clips. Then from there, all you need to export and it'll keep that crispy video quality and audio as you transfer it over to post on whatever platform you're publishing those promo assets on. And then you also want to make sure you're repurposing this long form content into new types of content. So maybe it's using some of the transcript to create an entirely different script for your content, for a voiceover or a casual talking head video. Maybe it's using it for copy, for writing captions, for adding text on top of a reel, or even creating a carousel. And it could even be pulling a audio clip from that podcast and using it as a voiceover with B-roll clips on top of it for a reel. Just from one video podcast episode, you could use the footage, the audio, the transcript, and even just the concept or the idea or the outline that you've already created to create so much content. So make sure you're making the most of it. This is a great way to grow your audience, nurture your audience, and build extra awareness around your episodes and your show. And that is your ultimate guide to video podcasting. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure to sign up for Riverside using my code for 15% off so you can use all of the features that I shared inside this guide for producing your video podcasts. I've linked all the details inside the description. Let me know in the comments what part of this guide you're excited to implement for your own video podcast, and are there any more in-depth tutorials you'd like me to see create next? I also have a workshop where I dive deeper into this topic if you want to learn more about video podcasting, how I structure my episodes, how I've been able to grow my show and my YouTube channel, and even the episodes that I recommend starting with. So I'll link that in the description as well. And I'll see you in my next video.